Hi there, my name's Barnaby, and today I'll be walking you through the development of Salt, an app designed to connect home cooks with professional chefs that was born out of a personal frustration of mine. As a serious home cook, I found that the online options I was turning to just weren't helping me to up my game in the kitchen. I therefore began this project by backing up my hunch with some research, undertaking a competitive analysis that established that none of the current online products enabled cooks to receive personal feedback from chefs in the comfort of their own home. Having established that there was a gap in the market, my next concern was viability, and so I wanted to interview individuals on both sides of the platform. I spoke to both cooks and chefs and then ran the recordings through some affinity mapping, which gave me some really valuable insights, the most important being that both cooks and chefs were enthusiastic about the product. It became clear at this point that it would be best to position the product as a premium service, so as I developed my user personas, I focused on an older, wealthier demographic who would have both the time and financial income to invest in their passion. I developed some user flows based on their needs, and this resulted in a set of key features that would make up the app. However, I was concerned that my older demographic who are less tech savvy would maybe have issues with these, so I undertook a card sorting to establish whether my key features would be well understood. This proved invaluable, as in reality, the request a session, thank a chef, and sessions features were not well understood, and so this let me know that these would need to be targeted in my onboarding. I also chose this moment to revise my framework and give different users a different set of experiences, i.e. members versus visitors. I was now ready to move into ideation and prototyping, and as I explored ideas, I found that each feature tended to coalesce around a set of unique requirements. The Find a Chef flow, for example, was all about expedience, while I knew that when requesting a session, users would value the certainty that they needed when making a booking. And as for the Thank a Chef feature and it being quite novel, a longer, more descriptive flow would help users to avoid becoming confused. With a mid-fidelity prototype up and running, I moved into usability testing, and although my participants had unique experience with the app, a pattern did start to emerge. Requesting a session was proving difficult, and on closer inspection, there were two screens to blame. The Request a Session screen suffered from a lack of information, and so this was remedied by expanding a graph and adding some ghost numbers. However, the Sessions page was less of an issue of lack and more an issue of how the information was presented. An alternative screen that resembled a calendar that would be more familiar to users was added, as well as a key to explain the significance of colors on the screen. With the issues resolved, I could focus on the UI design of my app, and keeping my target in mind, I aimed for an aesthetic that was classical, refined, clear, and consistent. A color palette that evoked the dark blues and chef's whites found in professional kitchens was chosen, as these colors also conveniently tied in with Salt's connections to the sea. And by paring back this palette, I was able to generate a set of elegant yet legible UI components. I was now ready to publish my first high-fidelity prototype for peer review, and despite a positive reception, the issue of contrast kept on coming up. The problem stemmed from an over-reliance on dark blue backgrounds, but by adjusting the dominance of colors within the color palette, I was able to strike a lighter tone that enabled more dynamic use of the blues within the palette. In my opinion, this also resulted in a cleaner, more sophisticated aesthetic overall. So this is where Salt stands today, a high-fidelity prototype that allows users to find chefs, request sessions, leave reviews, and thank chefs for particularly excellent experiences. Looking to the future, I would like to revisit the accessibility of the app. During the UI stage, I explored a design that would cater to the visually impaired as well as the requirements of a premium platform. However, I think trying to kill these two birds with one stone was unwise, and so I'd like to develop an accessibility optimized version that users could select as they entered the app. Many thanks for your time, and join me on this journey through Salt so far.